evening, everybody. This is Leah Ryan and Loft Manage Richard from the Pioneer Racing Pigeon Club of Ontario. Happy Monday, everyone. We're here tonight to talk anything and everything to do with pigeons, pigeon racing, one loft racing, pigeon health, you name it. We talk about it. I'm going to make sure we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Send it over to you, Ryan. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Leah. Welcome, Facebookers, YouTubers, and Facebookers. And if there's anything out there that's new coming out, welcome to those people as well. That's what this is about, promoting this great hobby of pigeon sport, pigeon racing, pigeon caring, pigeon keeping. Any type of bird that you have that's a pigeon, we can talk about it. We want to welcome you on this snowy, blowy, chilly, snowy, cold night here in southern Ontario. That is Ontario, Canada. Please, YouTubers, Facebookers, share, like, subscribe, share, and like. Any of those orders you can do, just please do me a favor. Do all three of them. That's what Loft Manager Richard likes. He's been subscribing ever since he started here, and look at him. He's now stuck on the show with us. Leah, are we up on the two channels?
Oh, we are. It is a miracle, but it's the internet gods are actually cooperating with us this evening. Want to give a shout out to everybody watching over on Facebook, including Michael Peebler. Heather Green is in the house. Werner Vale, nice to see you on. James Timothy Walters, Tony Seismanic. I'm sure I butchered that one, but nice to see you on, friend. Mike Sheridan, nice to see you on. Tony says he made it on the right day. I know sometimes the ads, there's a lot of writing and it's hard to pinpoint what date and time we're actually on, but every Monday, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, we are here to talk anything and everything to do with pigeons. I think we're going to have a good show tonight, right? What are we going to talk about tonight, Ryan?
We got lots of things. Now that we're getting almost into the month of February, the one loft races in the U.S. are going to start accepting birds. And you know what? For our American friends, and this goes for people worldwide, a couple little tips and tricks on shipping that I think will really, really help you. They're so simple, they're stupid, and you'll say, man, why didn't I think of that? But they work, and we'll talk about that at some point here in the show. I think that's a good way to start, Leah. And we got the basketing tip there for pairing up. We don't want scalping going on because people are still starting to pair. I mean, it's breeding hasn't officially got into full swing. There's lots of us that haven't paired, so we're going to talk about that as well.
Last week we were going to show a couple breeding or pairing, not breeding tips, pairing tips. A couple of videos which I already did upload on YouTube and Facebook, but I thought we would show them this evening and maybe just talk about them in case anybody has any questions. Good news, Derek has found his gloves. They were in his pocket all along. Well done, Derek. Well done. We also have a new viewer on here, and I just noticed his name because he sent us an email earlier on today. His name is Bruce Dixon. I believe he is in the Brantford area near Delhi, Ontario. He is looking, I think he's been out of the sport for about 20 years or so, and he's looking at getting back into the sport. And he's looking for perhaps some pigeon friends out in his neck of the woods that could get him set up and ready to go maybe for the race season. So guys, I'm going to put this out here right now. If you are in the Brantford or Delhi area and you'd like to be a mentor or perhaps give Bruce a hand, please let us know in the comments or shoot Ryan a text message or send us an email because we have somebody who's chomping at the bit to get back into the sport and we would certainly like to help him out. So in the comments, guys, if you're in that area. Mansker Racing Loft is watching us over on YouTube. Nice to see you on, Brian. Shall we start with shipping tip for everybody when you're shipping your pigeons?
Yeah, shipping out. I know in Canada you got to use more of the widowhood crates or a wooden box, things like that. But I know there's so many birds being shipped through the United States, going across the country there. And, I've never had anyone send me birds, honestly, that has done it perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Has left no stone sort of unturned, like just because the lady at the post says it's going to take 2 days to get there or a day and a half to get there, they believe it. And, something bad can happen, as we know. Sometimes, your birds can get lost in the post up to a week, 8 days. I've seen it before. I've had it happen to me before. So, guys, when you are sending your birds out, don't just think it's going to be a day and a half and it's there, because every time that's happened, plan for the worst, right? Plan for something bad to happen, and especially when you're sending out those youngsters going to those one loft races, that's a very big step for them. And you know what? Don't put them behind the 8 ball one little bit.
So this is just a little video that we put together that Ryan, how many pigeons have you shipped across not only Canada, but across the United States in the last, I don't know, let's just say 5 years?
Geez, I couldn't tell you. I
Thousands?
shipped to Africa, Trinidad, all throughout the United States, all across Canada. We've shipped it to a lot of places.
And you've also received a lot of birds because you run a one loft race. You also import pigeons coming from the United States into Canada, vice versa, pigeons going from Canada to the United States. You've seen them come in many different shapes and size boxes, different kinds of carriers. I know Ryan's got horror stories that he could tell you. We could probably be here for days. But so Ryan kind of knows what he's doing. He's sort of the authority on shipping. So we thought we'd put this little video together just to give you a few little tips, tricks, and pointers when you're shipping your pigeons out, whether it is by air, if you're in Canada, by WestJet, or if you're in the United States and you're shipping by the post. Just a few little tips here, and then we're going to talk about it. So I'm going to show this video, and here we go. Hopefully it works. Go ahead. Or you want to say something, or we're going to play the video?
No, good luck.
Right, good luck. Here we go.
Shipping tip: quick, fast, and in a hurry. Step 1: Gatorade into the corn. Let the corn sit for 24 hours. Pour the corn mixture into the feed cup. Put it in the freezer. Let it freeze solid. Looks like this. Solid as a cube. Solid. Take your cup. Open your box. Rip out one of those liner panels for fresh oxygen. Leave this panel in for your postmaster. Put straw in. Cut 2 little slits and slide your feeder in. Fold the tabs over. Get to the post. Take this out of your cooler, which is frozen solid. Place in. Hydration, electrolytes, and feed last for hours.
Okay. There we go. Is that self-explanatory? Do you guys have questions regarding these little shipping tips? Ryan, before you get to that, I want to give a shout out to Abdil Pino from YouTube. Thanks for watching. He says, greetings to all. Thanks for all the tips and info you give us. It's absolutely our pleasure. If you guys have questions about that video, Ryan's going to break it down here for you now. But if you still have questions, put them in the comments. This show works the best when we're all interactive together. So if you guys have questions, you're not sure what's going on, put them in the comments. Ryan, go ahead.
All right, that box was for about 2 pigeons, okay? I know you could stuff 4 in, but that's a 2-bird box. There's things I find, if you're going to give birds water in the boxes and feed like I do, I like to put a divider, okay? So you can divide the box in half with another piece of cardboard. That way, bird doesn't climb on it. They're sort of their little tunnel, like they're in a widowhood box. And when you put the drinkers in, and we'll say that's the floor of the box, right? This top of this cup is the floor, and you got your straw, right? You want to put your feed cup so it's up a bit, right? So they don't want to climb on it. They're going to put their beak in. And yes, you're going to say, well, that's ice. The ice is going to melt. We soak the feed. The the feed absorbed for 24 hours, drinks in the Gatorade or the water, whatever you want to use. And Gatorade is great to use. It's good. Athletes use it. I use it. It's a hydrator, right? Hydration is key. Soak your feed. Freeze your feed cup. Put it in a cooler. Make sure your birds are fed before you take them to the post. Put that together just outside the post office. Put it together, fold it over, and put your birds in. And you know what? Your birds are going to be able to lick it. As it melts down, they're going to be able to drink a little bit. They're going to be able to eat. And whatever they eat is moist. They're hydrating. You know what? If they're stuck for an extra day or two, got a little bit of feed and water. Just a little help. That's it. Goes a long way.
Because if it can happen, it will happen. And you don't want to be one of those people that even though the post tells you guaranteed next day delivery, and you ship it out on Monday and it is now Thursday and you're like, wow, I didn't ship my pigeons with any water or any feed. The post told me it was going to be delivered on Tuesday and it's now Thursday. Now what? You know what? Prepare for the worst, expect the best. It's not going to hurt. It's just a little bit of feed and a little bit of extra water. It's not going to hurt them. Brian, David Tracy is asking, where's the best place to buy shipping boxes? Now, David Tracy is in the United States. Where do you recommend he get the shipping boxes from?
You know what? I think if you're going to, if you're serious, I would go with the widowhood crates. I know they're a little bit more expensive. But a widowhood basket, it has the individual stall. It has the feed cup built in. It has the proper ventilation in that box. You know what? If somebody should happen to fall or drop it or put it down in a puddle, the bottom of the box won't fall apart. I've seen it happen. Okay? And that widowhood basket, you can get them in any sizes from a 2-bird up to a 12-bird. The post takes them. They're very secure, very safe for your pigeons. And, you know, most of the time when the races are done, if you have birds coming back, the guy will normally ship it back to you. And if you say, hey, put your name in the basket, please, when the race is over, send my basket back with my birds. It's the best bang for your buck. That's my opinion. In the U.S., they use these cardboard boxes, as you can see here. Okay, let me fold that over. They use these boxes. I find the problem with these boxes is they have this material inside, and that doesn't breathe. Pigeon dust is pretty hard on our lungs. Can you imagine having 2 to 3 pigeons in these boxes, which a lot of guys do? They stuff them in, and the dust is in there. It's hard on the breathing. But I like to rip out at least one layer of the liner inside, so one side's completely open, and I will take my fingers and I will poke out holes in the sides here through the meshing, and I'll even put some holes on the top. I want those birds to be breathing if I use them. Because they do work good, but is it my absolute favorite? No, the widowhood crate is the best. But hey, you guys are allowed to use those boxes.
Where could you get the crates? Like widowhood crates.
The crates you're gonna, if you're in the U.S., you get them probably from Seagulls, or you can get them from Jeds or Vita King. If you call us, we have used ones here that are great. You know, 1 or 2 times used. We sell them for around $100 a crate, and it's 1 to 12.
And I know if I could just interrupt for 1 second, I know that the Tracy family, they're sending 2 teams to us. I know that both David and his wife Sherry are sending a team each. That's a total of 10 pigeons. Would it not be in the Tracy's best interest to use something like a 12-bird widowhood crate because of the volume that they're sending? I mean, those boxes for 1 or 2 birds or 4 birds, they're great. But when you start getting into larger numbers, I do think the widowhood crates are the best.
Yeah, I'm going to go with it. I'll tell you, I would 150% go with the widowhood crate. It's better for your birds. You can take the dividers out if you want. But again, if you're sending 12 babies, just leave the dividers in. Put a bird in each stall. And you see here, see how I make that? Okay. Keep those in your cooler. You have your youngsters in another basket. You get to the post, you fill out everything, put these in. Put these into the little tray here. Look, you see? The little tray, right? These are in the widowhood cups. These are in the widowhood slots. They come with them. Those crates come with these beautiful cups. And I mean, these cups will feed and water one pigeon for about a week. No problem. And you measure them out, so you freeze them in the cups. There you go. Now the pigeon, right? The pigeon's going to lick it. He's going to start licking it. Then he's going to be able to start picking at it. That's if you want to put feed in it. Maybe you only want to put water in it, right? Freeze up and make a whole bunch of ice cubes, just like that. So you got them like that. You got ice cubes now that are in there. The birds can lick it. As it melts, they're going to drink it. Or, again, you want to get real crazy. Gatorade. Look. Just like Gatorade. It's perfect. You're giving your bird electrolytes. Do you want to win the race? You know how you win, eh? You don't win at the end. You win at the beginning. That's how winning is done. You know, Ronaldo, when you knew him, or when you heard of him, or Wayne Gretzky, or Joe Montana, everything that they did, it was when they were a kid. All those little steps, all that preparation. By the time you seen him on the field, he was already so far ahead. He was such a pro. He just needed to get comfortable. And
isn't there a way you can train your birds before you put that in?
Yeah.
So they know.
You can train them. That's right.
I know shipping canaries. We use sponges and soak the sponge in water. You put those canaries in that box and they know there's water in that sponge.
That's right.
But first time, the pigeons won't really know. So you're giving them a shock. So I would try and train them to this before you send the birds so they know what's going on.
Right. And if you don't train them, right, if you don't do that step, I'm going to tell you they will learn pretty quick. When they're sitting right in front of it, they will pick up it quick. But exactly like Richard is saying, put the time in. Train them. You know what? You want to fill them up just before you ship them. But if you fill them up just before you ship them and it's the first time you put them in a basket and you take them down the road, what happens? Birds are throwing up.
What are you shipping?
Pigeons.
Young birds?
Youngsters.
Well, you should have those youngsters already for car rides long before you start shipping.
That's right.
Get them used to that feeling.
That's right.
When I was a little boy, the first few times I went in my dad's Cadillac, I threw up.
Right. And it's the same with animals. When you bring a new puppy home or a cat, they get car sick. And another thing, when you are soaking your feed, soak the feed that the birds are eating. Okay? If you're only feeding them peas and safflower seeds, don't decide to do reindeer corn and heavy peanuts because they're not going to eat it. Soak the feed that they're eating. Soak it.
Once the water is out of that container,
yes,
and the feed's still in there, the feed is soaked and wet. When they eat a bit of feed, they're getting the nourishment as well because that ice cube's going to melt within about, let's say, 2 to 3 hours, right?
That's right.
So the feed in there is soaked.
It's 100%.
Soak and wet.
Soak and wet.
And that's, they'll eat a piece of feed. They're also getting feed and they're also getting
hydration.
Hydration. That's right.
And the great part is if you make this and fill it up with equal parts, right full to the top and freeze them, right? You make these and freeze them. As they melt, like Richard says, any water normally doesn't spill out. If you just put the ice cube in, just the ice cube, and somebody bumps it after it's been sitting, you can lose it. So you're always best to put feed in with it. My opinion.
David was also asking, where do you get them? And I think Aces High Pigeon Loft, Aces High Racing Pigeons, excuse me, says Foy's. If you're looking for the cardboard transport boxes and you're in the United States, Foy's has them. If you are shipping to our race and you're in the United States and you're looking for a widowhood crate, Ryan is headed to the US, I believe next week, to ship pigeons out. We can certainly send you one so you have it when it's time to ship your participants to us in New York. Okay, so just throwing that out there. If you're interested in them and you live in the United States, you want us to send them, let us know before Friday and we will Ryan will take them over the border when he goes next week.
And sending a crate like that at a good price. They have been used once. They're clean. And if you have to buy this from a supplier, let's say a 12 bird crate, they're usually about $150, $170. Am I correct?
They're around the 190 US.
Oh, 190 US.
Yeah.
So we're selling them for what? 90 bucks?
$100.
$100 Canadian plus obviously shipping to you, because we have to get the widowhood crate to you to ship it by post. So if you're interested, let us know. We got lots of comments and questions. If you guys have questions about shipping tips, tricks, please, we're going to continue the conversation. Don't be shy. Put your comments below. Lots of questions over here on YouTube. So I'm going to start with my good friend Stan the Man from 8BC Loft. Antonio, I'm going to get to you next. First question, how to clean frozen poop from the youngsters in this cold weather?
I leave it. I leave it. There's days you can scrape, there's days you can't. When you get 5 days of freezing, you're going to get a buildup. I mean, it depends how your boxes are. If your boxes are on a hard plastic, you just leave it. When she thaws out, scrape them off. I don't know. There's some days here we can scrape, and some days you can't. It's common sense, right?
Like right now here, we're in Toronto. It's like, I don't know, about minus 25 outside right now. It's freezing. Are we doing a whole lot of scraping this week, or did we do a lot last week? Probably not, because it's freezing cold. But when you get a mild day, get out that scraper and scrape. David Tracy says, yes, I would like you to send us one. Ryan, let's make a note of that. The Tracys would like a 12-bird widowhood crate shipped to them. We will do that for you. Next question from Stan the Man. Should I give the breeders baths in this cold winter with youngsters in the nest? That's a great question. Ryan?
Sure, absolutely. Remember, the pigeon in the wild, if it's a nice day and he, milds up a bit, or he finds a puddle, he's going to go take a bath. I think if you're giving a bath every day, or you're putting bath water out every couple of days, they'll go when they want to go take a bath. You don't have to dunk them in. I always say when it's nice and cool, give them a nice warm hot bath is good. They love it. You look at some of the auction videos we did last year. I would do bath times. I did that every Friday. And you see the birds, they'd hop right in, and they look like they were in a jacuzzi. They loved it. And you know what? They know what they want. If they want to go have a bath, they're going to have a bath. But I do think they do need it. It's good for the pairs when they're sitting on the nest to keep the eggs nice and moist. Remember, your stock birds and all your birds, you want to have them feeling like they're out in the wild as much as you can.
I seen my birds last week. My fly pen goes right to the ground, all around the loft. It's 1.5 feet of snow in there, 1.5 feet deep.
Yeah.
And they have a section there where it's not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
They're in there bathing in the snow. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Bathing in the snow.
Enjoying it.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Simple. Or if you put a bath pan in if you have a fly pan doesn't go to the ground, put a bath pan in there with snow. You watch, they'll bathe.
There you go.
Antonio has a question. When do you start breeding? And Brian Mansker is asking, can you show a 12-bird crate? We've got another video coming up here where Ryan did a quick little pairing tip, and that is going to show you a widowhood crate, and that's going to come up here in a second. Antonio wants to know, when do you start breeding? I guess that's all relative to where you live, but you guys, Ryan, Richard, when do you start breeding?
People are in our area, they're already banded and weaned youngsters.
They start November, put the birds together,
Yeah.
get their bands on by January the 1st. And then other people will start first week in March.
Yeah, February, March.
Right?
Yeah. So it all depends on what you want to do and how early you want them. Every area is different.
You guys have not started breeding. You guys start mid-February, right?
We're going to put them together mid-February.
Yeah, about mid-February.
But here in Toronto, where we are, like Ryan said, some guys start December, some guys start January, some guys start February, kind of within that sort of 3-month window. I don't think there's a right or wrong. It's whatever works for your breeding program and what you're breeding for. Are you breeding for club and combine racing? Are you breeding for specific one loft races where you know the intake dates are a little bit earlier? You know, it's all relative to what you're breeding for. Troy Spencer says, if you scrape, getting back to Stan the Man's question about scraping in the winter, he said, if you scrape it, there can be sharp edges that can hurt the feet. I think if you're scraping the poop in the wintertime, is that what he means?
I always
Is that what
like
he
to make
means?
sure the birds are out of the box perch before I scrape, because it's hard on their feet. You're right. Like,
Oh, he's saying if you scrape the shit can be sharp.
no, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I never seen that. I never seen that sharp ice on.
Scrapers we got there.
You know what? When the shit's frozen, guess what? You as a loft guy, you get a day off from scraping. When it miles up, go out and scrape them. That's it. You're not going to have 20 days in a row. And if you get 20 days in a row, the box perches are going to be solid little ice blocks.
There'll be a lot of marbles on
Little
it.
marbles,
They're healthy,
that's it. And you know what? Actually, I will say, if you, I did it last year with the auction birds that are in that loft. I scraped them every day in the winter. And if you are actually real consistent, almost every time you go in there and you see droppings, give it a scrape, give it a scrape. Normally those little marbles that go down, because it doesn't build up, they just pop right off with a good scraper. But you need a good scraper for one of those. And we have them here as well.
You can use a blowtorch, but it's hard on the birds.
Yeah.
Bruce Dixon has a question, but before we get to Bruce's question, I want to say good evening to Rodney Petty. He is in the house. Nice to see you on. Mike Green, he would also like to get a 12-bird widowhood crate. Brian, Mike, David, we're going to show a 12-bird widowhood crate here now in this little, I don't know if you guys have already seen this video, but we're going to show it again in case anybody wants to talk about it. This is a little pairing tip and how you can pair up birds, perhaps if you don't have the room in your own loft or you don't have a garage or whatever. A little pairing tip in a 12-bird widowhood crate. I'm going to show that here right now, and you can have a look at the widowhood crate. Then we're going to get back to the questions. Here we go.
The widowhood crate. There you see it. More than just a basket. These are the dividers that go through the crate. As you can see, each divider, that is a 6-bird widowhood crate. Pull your dividers out. You cut yourself a nice piece of wire. Put your wire in the middle of your widowhood crate, in the little slots, and as you can see, I will show you, that's what the slot groove looks like. Right back in here, you got one on each side. They got one of those in the middle. Now you can pair your pair up. They can see each other through the widowhood crate, no problems. Another tip, you can feed them in here in the feed cups. I only use the feed cups for feed. Well, how do you water them then? Do you take them out? Well, if they're only in here for about 2 or 3 days for pairing, I do not. What I do is I use the little 1-liter drinker, just the top drinker. I lift it up. I put it in. One for the hen, one for the cock. There you have it. They can't knock the drinker over. You can put 2 in, 1 on each side, or hey, 5 minutes one side, 5 minutes the other. This way, your pairs will get used to each other. If it's a new pairing, you don't have the room, works perfect. And always put them on.
Oh, and Ryan says, always put them on straw. I cut that off a little bit early there, but that is a little pairing tip in a widowhood crate, 12-bird widowhood crate. And hopefully for you guys interested in seeing what a 12-bird crate looks like, that kind of helps you out. I know that's about pairing, but that gives you an idea of what a widowhood crate looks like. 6 on the top, 6 on the bottom, snaps together, comes with the little dividers, comes with the little feed cups. Question about, you said at the end there, putting them on straw. Let's talk about bedding in either a cardboard box for shipping or a widowhood crate for shipping, or putting them on a plane or in a cat carrier. What type of bedding should we always be using in transport boxes, and why?
You can use, there's a few things you can use. Straw, pine needles, Okay, you can use the floor
If I
granules.
could just stop you for a minute. Pine needles, the dry ones.
Yeah,
The ones that are on the ground, on the bottom,
Yeah.
underneath the tree.
The one.
Don't go to the tree with the green pine needles and start breaking the pine needles off and put them in a basket. They're green. They got to be dry
Dried pine needles.
pine needles, brown pine needles.
Shredded paper is good. Okay. Pretty much those three things are good. Do not put them on shavings. Do not put them on hay. Hay is green. It sweats. You want to feel temperature. Put birds in a basket like that on hay. And when you open the lid, the temperature will be out of this world. So don't do that. Keep them on, like Ricky said, the dried pine needles, straw, shredded paper, all three of those things. Perfect. One of the three, two of the three, three of the three, or
Not sawdust either.
No sawdust, no shavings. Stay away from shavings. Pigeons don't go and pick up shavings and build a nest with shavings. I don't see pigeons doing that. I've never seen them do that. So stay away from shavings.
Not only for that reason, because they don't do it naturally, but shavings produce dust. Dust can result in respiratory issues.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the dust in the shavings. There's something in wood shavings that the aroma from it, it's like an allergic reaction. And yeah, there is a bit of that fine dust in it. You always see the birds scratch their eyes. You never see birds building nests out of shavings. Every time I've never been to a high-end loft and ever seen them putting shavings in a nest bowl. Not that I've seen, but hey.
It's unfortunate because there's some people that are fairly good pigeon flyers, or they think they are. They have a nice basket, and they bring the birds over, and it's shavings in the bottom. You know,
Can't help it. Can't help
No,
it. I'm only
no.
help those who listen.
Yeah, we can only help those that listen, and we're just going to give you a little pro tip here. If you want to ship your pigeons and ship them, prepare them for success. Do not ship them on shavings. Want to give a big shout out to my good friend Mark. Want everybody give a big shout out to Mark and Rosemary from, I believe, Massachusetts. They are new to the Pioneer Family Show. They will be joining our One Loft race. Want to give them a big Pioneer welcome. Let's everybody make them feel welcome over on Facebook, guys. Henry, nice to see you on. Getting back to the questions, and then in a minute, we're going to show another pairing tip if you don't have a widowhood crate, how you can make it work just in a regular kind of wooden basket. We're going to show you that in a minute. Getting back to the questions on YouTube, Antonio is asking, how many days before breeding do you start to medicate your birds, and what do you use?
Well, if you're going to medicate when the season, if you want to start, let's say you want to start pairing up in February. Let's say February 1st you want to start pairing up, and you want to run them on a canker treatment for 7 days, and you want to run them on a coccidiosis treatment for 7 days and a respiratory treatment for 7 days. If you want to do those three things, maybe a worming, maybe. If you want to run them on those three things, the best thing to do is give yourself about 6 weeks, 6 weeks head start. So you can medicate them for a week, take them off for a week, give them some probiotics or give them some vitamins in the water. Then move to the next, respiratory for a week, take them off that. Canker for a week. So you've done the canker, the cocci, the respiratory, in any order you want. But in between, if 5 days in between those days of the medication, when you come off one medication before the next one, give them something good, Give them the good probiotics, give them a vitamin, some clean water. Just don't go medication. I don't think you should.
I think, like humans, you need a break in between, or you need to counterbalance the medication that you're giving them with, like Ryan said, a good probiotic, a good gut bacteria, a good maybe natural product, something, a little break in between. Because we know as humans, you don't like to just keep taking medication after medication after medication. After a while, you're probably not going to feel so good. So hopefully that helps. One more question from Antonio, and then we're going to head over to Facebook. And I believe Bruce had a question. Antonio, when are you coming to the USA, and where will you be there? This is just going to be, I'll answer it quickly, a quick trip to the US because we're shipping out birds from our auction site. Ryan has quite a bit of traveling to do over the next couple months as he heads to Europe, the UK, and Ireland starting in February. So this is just a quick trip to the US just to ship out our auction birds for all those who have purchased in the new year. And then he's off to Europe. So not a long trip this time in the US. Right, Ryan?
Yeah, I won't be long. I'll be back just in time to collect the U.S. birds for the Pioneer race. So I'll be back for that. But
when you come back in April, right?
Yeah, when I'm back in April, and you guys are all going to be welcome to follow us along when we head over to Europe. We won't talk about that on tonight's show. I will save that maybe for next week's show.
I will show the little lab though, if anybody is interested. We will be talking about this amazing once in a lifetime experience that will be happening in February for Ryan as he travels throughout Europe and the UK, doing auctions directly at the Breeders' Loft. It's going to be a lot of fun. We hope you guys stay tuned for that. Bruce Dixon had a question, which I want to get to here now. Do fanciers still darken young birds?
Yes, they do. That's the best way to do it here in Southern Ontario. It's the best way, I believe. Again, in Florida or different parts where there's different climates, it's different. But I know in Belgium and in England and, Canada, darkening that's the best way for the youngsters.
So short answer, yes, we certainly do it here. Bruce? Dominic Zarlinga has a great point. He says, with some medications, you have to remove the grit. The calcium in the grit will neutralize the medications. Yes, have you ever heard of that before?
Yeah, that is true. Most of the time, if you're going to give them any type of medication, just take, like I say, the grits and the minerals away. Just take everything away for the 5 to 7 days that you run it, right? And then when you come off it, you can give them everything fresh again. If you're giving them the medication, and another great tip, give the medication fresh. So, we like to use the 1 liter drinker. I'll mix 1 liter of water. 1 liter will do about 50 birds in a single sitting. Means, hey, if I feed them dinner, I make sure there's no water in the loft. After breakfast in the morning, I give them breakfast. I give them a drink, 1 liter drinker of fresh medication. They're done drinking. A half hour after they've eaten and drank, I pull the drinkers away, leave them alone. When it's time to eat dinner, if I'm feeding them a light dinner, again, I will go make another fresh 1 liter drinker, feed them first, and then give them the water. They drink it up, they lap it up. I'm saving on medication, but the one thing I am doing, I'm giving them fresh. And fresh is key because the longer medication sits out, the less the potency is. And I'd rather give them 5 days, good and strong, nice stuff, than have flat stuff.
What I like to do is I like to put my medication in a glass drinker. Because plastic absorbs the medication.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah, sure.
So it gets into that plastic, whereas a glass drinker,
well,
you don't have any residue in that. I mean, I don't know if you do it.
A glass is good. A glass is good. The only issue I have with the glass ones is, it's hard to find a 1 liter drinker. I think if you give it fresh and you just take it out and wash it, I think you're okay. If you're leaving it for days on end, you're right.
Well, I wouldn't, especially at this time of year. They freeze.
No,
you're in trouble.
100%. But I'm just saying, if you give it to them fresh, take it out, wash it out, and you shouldn't have that much leachate. I don't think you'd have any. It wouldn't leach into the plastic that bad. Do you think it would? I don't know.
I'm just saying that's what I use, a glass container.
Okay. I really? Okay. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I gotta see this.
Go
Rodney,
around,
Rodney Petty has a question. What is Ryan's main family of his racing birds in his loft?
Me and Ricky, we just have the staff Van Reets from Dean Pallet and some staff Van Reets, a few left from Mark Codwell. That is it. You will probably see some of those up on Marketplace shortly. Leah, if
Oh,
you want
yes.
to mention.
Yeah, coming up on our Feathersleep Pigeon auctions or FIPA.ca. While Ryan is in transition, going from Canada to Europe, we will have some birds up on our Feathersleep marketplace. What is that? These are birds that are at a set price that will be listed for sale. They will be listed, let's just say, for $500. But we also have the option for you to make an offer. If you're interested in the pigeon and perhaps 500 is out of your budget and you'd like to perhaps offer 300, that information will go to the breeder, and the breeder can either accept or reject that offer. If he accepts it, then obviously you purchase the pigeon, we send the pigeon off to you. If he rejects the offer, the pigeon stays up on our Feathers Elite marketplace. So we will be having those birds up within the next week. Ryan and I are just working on getting the photos done and the eye videos and the pedigree description. So you guys will have something to look at while Ryan makes his transition from Canada over to Europe. There will be about a 2 or 3 week period where you will not see auctions because we're setting up in Europe for the auctions to come, but that's something to look forward to. And when we do have those birds up, maybe by next week, we might have a couple up and we'll show them on the family show and give you guys an idea of how the whole marketplace works. Just another way for everybody to purchase pigeons. Okay, Troy, question. Ryan and Richard, would you say the lazy man using light, it's not as effective as the pigeons on the dark? Lazy man?
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Put the lights on.
Yeah, you know what? I've never done the lights. Lazy man. You know what? Is it a lazy man or is it a smart man, really? I mean, you know, the thing we always say is who grows a flower in the dark? You're always better to grow a flower in the light, but it seems like the darkening seems to work better. I've never flown the lighting system. I know you've got to pull flights and tail feathers and stuff like that.
I don't think you can grow a flower in a what, with a light bulb?
Well,
it needs sunlight.
Sunlight, but I'm saying if you leave the lights on, he's saying if you say hell with it, let's push them through the wall.
If you leave the lights on, I'm saying.
They're both ways lazy. I guess they're both. I don't know. They both take a different type of work. You either leave the lights on and you're pulling tail feathers and flight feathers and stuff like that, or you put them in the dark and you grow them in the dark. Either way, I'm sure there's pros and cons to each of them. Just here, we're stuck on the dark, right?
If you're breeding right now and you have youngsters right now, they're in the natural darkening right now.
Well, if your breeding sections have lights on, they're right now in the light. And then when you bring them into the dark, they seem to molt even better, I think. If your lights are on about 16 hours a day with the breeders. You shock the youngsters when you take them out.
Once I get those breeders going, I don't need the lights on anymore. Actually, right now, you don't need lights on to get your breeders going.
I mean, hey, okay, I know it's 100. You know, I know that you do it that way.
Youngsters are naturally darkened.
Okay, I know, but I wouldn't go and tell people once you go down on eggs, don't keep the lights on because you know what? If they do slow down, if they do, then the people are gonna, you know, give you shit. I think I would just say, get them on 16 hours, leave them on it.
When I put my birds together in February, there will be no lights on.
Okay. Oh,
right, but guys put them together in November, December. They like to get the lights on.
Right, they like the light. That's right. They like to motivate them just a little bit. It's a little bit of help.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of help, here's another little tip here that Ryan put together. Some of you have already seen this video. If you haven't, we're going to show it here now. And if you have questions about the video that we're about to show, please let us know in the comments. Another little tip and trick for pairing your pigeons as you prepare for breeding. And here we go.
Another great tip for breeding. If you want to mate a pair together, you don't have the room in your loft, but you just want to get them paired so they're down, they're in with each other, and they're mated. Okay? You put the pair together, as you see in the basket. They're in there. The secret is you want to make sure that the hen has a place to escape from the cock. So he cannot beat up on her, anything like that. So what I like to do is I like to have a block just like this. Doesn't have to be fancy. Okay? And I'll put a block in each corner of the basket, just like so. Okay, so the hen can get up on the block. I'll put one in one corner over here. I have one right there in the other corner. And there you go. Now, how do you feed and water them like this? This can get messy. Not at all. There you go. Feeder can go in, 10, 15 minutes, let them eat. You can take this out, just like that. You can empty it, you can fill it up with water and put it in. But if you put this back in, they'll want to take a bath. So instead of using that, what I like to do is use a little 1 liter drinker, like so, see? Just a baby. Lift up the top, place it in, just like that. Close your lid, and your pair now can get a drink of water. They're not gonna knock it over because it's locked in. Everybody's happy.
And there we have it, folks. Another little pairing tip. Now, Ryan, is that meant to be a breeding box? That or the widowhood crate? Are you meant to breed in there? Yes or no?
No, it's just for pairing. And you know, if you wanted to be serious here, you use the widowhood crate to put them together so they see each other and they just see each other for a day. Then you can move them into the basket, right? And you see how they act. Okay, they're pairing up. Next thing they're in the corner, they're talking to each other. Maybe the hen's sitting underneath the cock, so you know they're paired up, right? Leave them for a day. As I said, when you feed them or water them, feed them 5-10 minutes. Take the feed away. Give them water. 5 minutes. Take the water away.
Now, I know another fella that has told me, and I don't know if it's true or not, but he can take 2 baskets like that, put them side by each. The birds see each other through that top dowling, and they mate. Or the same fella, he has his nest boxes with the doors that close half. So the cock goes, you know where his box is, or right?
Right.
And the cock can go in. Now this guy told me this. Now I don't know if he's telling me the truth.
I could show you 25 other ways. I just shared it with 2. So next week I will have
Please, I'd be so interested.
I'll have the show cage way for you, and I will have your
Just
2 basket way that you want. The same thing for you. I'll do that for you.
I didn't. It's just a guy told me. A friend told me.
But you know, I can't show on every show. I can't release all my super tips.
Oh,
You have to remember something, eh? There's a reason why I'm somewhat of a novice at this, and you're the professional, LMR.
I know another guy. His barn, top part of his barn, he just lets 2 birds in there, and they mate up in the barn, and then gets them down.
I'm trying to help the guy.
I know.
Come on, Ricky. I'm just trying to help out the new guys here, okay? Watch you don't fall off that stool.
And why is it, we're going to get to a comment from Dominic here in a minute, but if you're introducing new pairs or maybe young pairs, why is it important that you let them sort of see each other, get acquainted with each other before you attempt to breed them? What can happen if you kind of just throw them in a box and say, okay, go? If they don't know each other already, what can happen? What are some things that can happen?
You don't want to see the cock scalp the hen. You want the pair to like each other. You'll see it right away. If you put a pair into a box, a nest box, and close the front end, and they look, and the cock starts acting like an idiot, and you don't give that hen a nest bowl that flipped over so she can get away, the cock just pushes, and if he's a real idiot, he scalps the hen. And the next thing you know, you come back and you go, oh man, that hen, I liked her. I paid so much money for her. She's now ruined. Remember, you can put them in together in the first 5 minutes. They look fantastic. But it's when you leave to go to the grocery store and you come back 4 hours later, 15 minutes after you left, he just got it in his head that he's going to destroy her. So, you know what? Take your time. Pair them up a bit. 2-3 days of pairing like that in either a basket or, like Richard said, the nest box. Give her something to get away from them is good. Put her in the box. Let the cock see her from the outside. A few different things. I could go on how many ways to do it. That was just 2 little ways.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, Richard.
Does every pair pair up the way you want it to be?
Absolutely not.
So
No,
how
they
would
don't.
you know that? I don't know.
What do you mean? How would you know that? You can tell when you put pairs together, they don't like each other. Sometimes you got to force them, and if you normally force them, nothing good comes out of it, anyways.
I think we were saying yesterday on the
Force
grading
'em.
show, it's kind of like people, right? People have different personalities. You know, people a couple might get along, and then another couple doesn't get along. Or you meet somebody at the bar, and you know, after a couple hours of talking to them, you're like, yeah, this guy gives me the creeps. I don't like him. You don't want to, you know, and the more the guy keeps forcing it on you, the more you're like, get the hell away from me. And you want to leave the bar. It's just people kind of like pigeons. Same thing. Use common sense, guys. Dominic Zarlinga, getting back to the lightning and darkening. He says, once they're on 16 hours a day, 16-hour days, if you shock breeders by turning them off and you go down to 12 or 13 hours a day, the old birds will go through a molt.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Normally, when we leave the lights on, if he shuts the lights off from 16 hours, he'll drop them down to like 12 hours. But we're almost now. What time is it light here?
Birds right now, naturally, if you've had them separated
Mm-hmm.
without any lights on,
Mm-hmm.
you put them together, they'll mate up.
Right.
If you've had them separated for, let's say, since October,
Yeah.
let's say the end of September,
Right.
right?
But there's enough light now already to start to kickstart it.
Oh, they're starting right now. I haven't put them together, but I can hear, you know, the cocks calling for the hens, right? So,
and again, that works. A lot of it has to do with Mother Nature's the light, right?
Well,
we're getting almost into 12 hours. Are we into 12 hours daylight yet? What time is it dark here?
I don't get up till 10, 11 o'clock.
But you're right. We're starting to turn the corner from wintertime, slowly getting into springtime. And I think what the guys are saying is Mother Nature, the instincts kick in, just like the birds in the wild. As we start to get longer days, the birds magically know that, oh, spring's coming. It's time to start pairing. It's time to start mating because spring is coming. I think it's a natural instinct.
Right now, it's natural, very natural, is the coyotes, the foxes, the silver wolves. They're all, right now, this is mating season. But it takes 2 months. You know, they mate up. It takes 2 months before the young one comes. So we're going to say February, March, April. By April, they got pups. Yeah. So right now, it's a natural thing.
Right now, we're at about 10 hours of daylight a day. And he's saying he's starting to see them starting to turn on. When they hit 11 hours, they get a little bit more. And you're basically on your way. If you're breeding in November, you want to start pairing up in November, put the lights on. If you're going to go through this work of doing all this shit, put the lights on and leave the lights on until you get into April. Just leave the lights on 16 hours a day, 17 hours a day, 15 hours a day. Leave those lights on. Keep the lights out at the same time. So that means the lights go off at 10 o'clock at night. The lights turn on in the morning when the lights come on with Mother Nature. So your light's always consistent. Okay, that's the same thing in the darkening system. The darkening system, the lights have to be consistent. You can't lighten pigeons for 2 weeks in the morning. Then the next 2 weeks, you lighten them, reverse it into the evening. You know, you don't reverse it. You try and keep it on a schedule.
Well, pigeon flying is a schedule.
Pretty much.
Keep on a schedule.
Try to. The closer the schedule, the better you're going to do.
Whatever your schedule is, keep it on that schedule. And away you go. If you start changing it all the time, I feed my birds at 7 in the morning. The next day I feed them at 6 o'clock at night. And the birds got to be on a routine, a schedule. Same with the lights. Exactly the same.
We have a question from Antonio and Rita, but I just want to get to a comment here from Dominic. He says, if you put them in the crate overnight in the dark, they will be mated by the morning. Just keep them in the dark for the one night. It is when the cockbird uses the same nest box is when he will destroy the hen. If you can keep the cocks from taking the same box, they will readily accept a new mate. Guys?
Well, sure. When the cock owns his box, or when a pigeon owns his perch, and another pigeon comes to it, actually the pigeon doesn't come to it. You force the pigeon into it. What you're doing is you're creating a little bit of havoc. And that cockbird, at first, he doesn't understand it. He goes, "Oh yeah, I like you, I mate with you," but he's still defending his area. So that's why people have the widowhood fronts on their boxes. Pair the bird up properly if you're going to do these pairings that you want to do, because cocks, when they own their boxes, they get a little bit aggressive. Same with a hen. If the hen owns the box, she owned that box a year before, she will be very aggressive in the box. She will fight a cock in the box. She will fight another hen in the box. It's just called territory, right? If I go to Dominic's house, more than likely, and I'm not supposed to be there, there's going to be a fight, right?
Common sense.
Common
So
sense.
what are you doing there at his house?
We-
I'm having a coffee.
He's drinking tequila. All right. Troy says we're getting 10 and a half hours of daylight. Tony Chesroy says lots of people use 24 hour 7 light for the breeders.
Nope.
Tony says birds need consistency. And I think that really hits the nail on the head. Whatever you're doing, whatever plan of attack you have, make sure you're consistent with it. Don't 1 week try it this way and then the next week try it that way. And because pigeons do like consistency, right?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of 24-hour light on anything. The pigeon needs to know how the earth's running, right? Could you imagine? Could you imagine being in your house 24 hours in the daylight, like not being able, when you go to bed, the lights are on, everything's on.
I agree with you. I don't think
does Mother Nature do that? I didn't see Mother Nature do that. I mean, I guess in Norway, the Norwegian way, okay, that's a one part of the world, but majority, the clock changes. The times go like this. These are the seasons. So, hey, if you want to give them light, give them 16, 18 hours, 15 hours light. Great. Give them a little bit of rest. Give them a little bit of nighttime. It's okay. But keep it consistent.
Think of yourself. Do you like to, would you like to go to try and rest when it's blaring unnatural light in your eyes? I mean, that to me sounds like torture, but hey, what do I know? Antonio is asking, will you do a walk around your dad's loft sometime, meaning loft manager Richard?
Yeah. And in April, you are going to see the LMR Pioneer One Loft. And guys, he's going to win. We have a wager going of 25,000 between the two of us. He's going to win. He's going to come out this year and really show me what to do.
A walk around now. There's too much snow outside.
There's too much snow. It's too cold outside. Listen, I'll be in Europe. I will tour every loft we go to, and we're gonna have some bonus footage. We're gonna have some footage in Europe that you guys have never seen before. All we ask you to do is stick with us, share, subscribe, like, share, or subscribe in any one of those orders, but do it. And you know what, guys? If you like what we're doing here at the Pioneer, and you don't have pigeons, but you're still liking it, and you're watching it, let me know. Come and be a part of the race this year. We have super breeders that can breed birds for you, so you can be a part of the festivities. You can have a horse in the race, a dog in the fight, or a chef in the kitchen. However you want to say it, a drink at the bar. But we want you to participate with us. Back to you, Leah.
We do certainly have a fun time. Tony says, I don't like 24 light either, but lots of top flyers do it. We have heard that before. We don't like it. Can you do it? Sure. We don't recommend it.
I haven't found it. Okay.
Yeah, back over to YouTube. Dunningville Loft says, does anyone know why they call them pot eggs? I asked everyone I know. No one can tell me where they came from. Thanks for what you guys do. You're great. Keep them flying. Thank you very much, Dunningville Loft. Pot eggs. What are they?
Okay.
Why do they call them that?
I got an idea. This is what I'm thinking. It's got to be some type of an English. I'm going with English. Now, the English or the Irish or the Scottish don't come after me, okay? Now, let's say the word pot egg. I don't want the egg to hatch, right, Leah?
Right.
So what do? I put it in a pot of boiling water. I boil it, and I potted the egg. Pot egg. Yes, direct point for me. Great question.
Did you just make that up, or is that true?
No, but I'm using common sense. What do you do to make an egg not hatch? You put it in a pot of water and you boil it. So you hard boil the egg. Pot egg. Pot egg. Now, when you guys are on Jeopardy or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and that comes up, you can either call me, I'll be your friend, or hell, just remember that. And any money you win, send it over. Thank you.
Hey, that works for me. Works for me. Troy Spencer, when will LMR's loft be ready?
Well, Troy, when you bring your birds over, they'll be ready.
Loft manager Richard will be working on the inside of his one loft while Ryan is in Europe. We will be showing footage from that. We're going to talk about the construction. We're going to talk about the reasons why perhaps he's doing things a little bit differently than Ryan did in his loft, his race loft. But we're going to take you along every step of the way. We're going to show you how he makes the perches, what kind of perches he makes, how he does the dividers, what he puts on the floor. We're going to show you so you guys have examples of how Loft Manager Richard does it. And maybe you want to take some of those little tips and tricks and put them in your own race loft. But yes, we're going to follow Loft Manager Richard along while he does the construction in his own one loft. That's his job while Ryan is away. At the moment, as you know, Troy, it's freezing outside and not really conducive to doing loft construction. But as the temperature starts to get a little milder, yes, that is Loft Manager Richard's job while Ryan is gone, is to work on his loft. Mike Sheridan, that's how they get potted meat, right? I don't know. Maybe. Potted meat? Sure. I can't pronounce your name over on YouTube, but it starts with the letter Z or Z. He would like to get on our one loft race. No problem. You can sign up on Win Companion or on our website, fipa.ca. Perches are available. 5 perches for $1,500 Canadian or $350 a perch. We were doing the numbers this morning, Ryan. How many perches we have left? Around 130-ish, maybe?
Yeah, about
Left?
130.
130. So there's still a few perches here left, but guys, it will sell out. And you know what? Even if it doesn't sell out, we're going to keeping on with whoever we have. We're going to have a great time. We always do every summer. And you guys can follow along every step of the way. We do live shows daily from the lofts. You get to see your pigeons. You get to see them training. You get to see them breaking. You get to see them eating. You get to see them pooping. You get to see them do everything. So we encourage you to join our race. We have a great time.
You know, and when you break it down for the entry fee and for the amount of entertainment you get, 233 prizes. If you like what we do and you want to give us a tip, honestly, put a bird in, put one in. You really like what we do, put a team in. You're going to love it. You're going to have entertainment for the whole season. And, you know, it's a little bit of thank you for the shows that we do. Thank you to the birds for entertaining you. That's what we ask. Look, think outside the box, eh? I don't want to hear I don't have the birds. I don't need to hear that. You have the birds. We all have the birds. And if you don't have the birds, but you really want to participate, let me know. I got the breeders that'll supply you super birds.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting back to pot eggs, Tracy just looked it up on Siri, and Siri said that pot eggs got their name because in the olden days they used the same materials they made clay pots out of.
That could have been another one. Pot eggs. That's a good one.
They would swap them out, meaning they would make like little clay like
eggs.
We have the plastic ones, the plastic dummy eggs we call them, or pot eggs. I guess in the olden days they would make them out of clay. Same thing they would make maybe the nest bowls out of. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm going to go with Tracy on that one. Okay, don't take my answer to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Don't go with that one. Use my answer on Jeopardy. You'll beat Alex Trebek on that.
I know a guy that used to make them out of concrete.
Concrete.
Yeah.
Mike Vandriak. Where has Mike Vandriak been? I bet you Mike Vandriak, he made his pot eggs out of concrete or cement. I bet you he did. 100%. If you guys have questions, you know what to do. Put them in the comments below. Anything pigeon related, pigeon health, pigeon racing, one loft racing, you name it. We talk about it here. What else do we want to talk about tonight, guys? It's a quiet night here.
That kind of flew through. I guess everyone's got pissed off from last week.
Well, last week was not our fault. There was 15 tons of snow outside, and the internet gods were not cooperating. So we do apologize for that. Questions, comments, complaints, questions about our One Loft race, questions about other One Loft races. What do you want to talk about? Where are we at? We're at an hour. We usually go about an hour and a half. So, guys, put your pigeon questions in the comments. What else do we want to talk about? Loft Manager Richard, you got any show and tell?
Celebrating our 11th year in One Loft Racing. That's a big bonus. I'm celebrating my 61st year in Spela with the Doiven.
Wow, Spela with the Doiven. Now he's even starting to use. You can see he's getting into race mode when he's starting to use words like this.
So
I know
basically,
you're coming off.
Basically, I don't think I was born yesterday.
Well, I know you're not. You know what? And I find it quite humorous that we've worked together, and you've taught me pretty much everything I know. And people say, I want to go to my loft, but you know what? If I was putting birds in this race, you know whose loft I would be in?
Remember,
I would go to yours.
Took me 40 years to train you, but remember, 40 years of me training you. You always learn when you're training.
You do.
Plus, the person is learning from you. So
that's right. Guys, put birds in his loft. Don't miss out. You're going to miss it.
Or you know what? You know what I would suggest is put some in with Ryan and put some in with Loft Manager Richard. That really tests your birds to see which training methods work best for your pigeons. I think that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Tony is asking, how do USA fanciers get birds to the Pioneer race? Who do we ship to? Great question, Ryan.
Yes. Okay. So you will follow along on our Pioneer Family Show. We will have a date that you have to send us the birds in Buffalo, New York. That's where I will be. I will pick up all the birds, Buffalo, New York myself. So you will ship them from whatever state you are, whatever town you are, on the date we tell you to. So normally you will ship to us our shipping date for Americans. We're accepting the last week of April to the first week of May. So it will probably be on that Monday of the last week of April or the first week of May, one of those 2 Mondays, where we will say, okay, guys, send your birds on Monday. I will be in Buffalo on the Tuesday. We'll be waiting. I'll have the baskets. We'll pick up the youngsters, pick up your teams. We will wait for everybody. We will not leave any breeder behind because you never know. As I said, something can happen in the post. The lady can leave the box. Don't put it on the dock. Doesn't get to the truck. It goes from 1 day to 2 days to 3 days. We will wait. We will pick every team up. Every team will be photographed. You will see it. I'm going to have a show. You're going to see your birds come in. And guys, from start to finish and everything in between, you're going to see. You'll see the sick bay. You'll see the birds that go into the sick bay. You'll see the birds when they break. You'll see the birds in the loft. You see the birds when they eat reindeer corn. You see the birds with the medication. You see the nighttime show. You see the daytime show. Everything in between. You will see the whole thing.
Those people ship the birds. They should communicate with you before they ship them. Don't just ship them on the last Monday of April.
No, we're
let you know when the birds are going.
We're gonna communicate, and again,
communication's a big thing.
Communication is a big thing. That's right. Don't assume. Call, email.
Right, and people might say, well, where's the address that we ship the birds to? The reason why we do not give the address out until it's time to ship is because we have had it time and time again. We give the address, people do not listen, and I'm not saying, Tony, you're not going to listen, but there are some people out there that don't listen. And they just ship the birds whenever they feel like it. And then, now, reminder, guys, we're in Canada, okay? We're only about an hour and a half away from the border, but we are in Canada. We will get a phone call from the post office in Buffalo, New York, saying, you got birds here waiting for you to pick up at the airport, at the post office. Now, we can't just drop everything we're doing, cross the border, pick the birds up. We have to get them on a health certificate to bring them back. So when we tell you it's time to ship and we give you the address, that's when you ship. Again, another point, we do not use a middleman. Ryan does everything. Ryan goes and picks your birds up at the post office. Ryan brings them across the border. We don't use anybody else. We do it all ourselves. So rest assured, it will be done the proper way. Next question. Michael Peebler says, Matt and John are not here to rip on things to fire up Leah. Matt and John, my good friends. You're right, Michael. It's a little calmer show here this evening. Troy says, question, is there an issue with quarantine from Europe to North America? Yes, Troy. In case,
What
I'm not
is
sure
this
where you've been,
question?
Troy, but
I got Tony Popolo message me. There's birds missing. There's birds missing. There's people. We're in a pandemic. Okay, hold on. Birds are going to be coming in. Just hold on. It's coming. It's fine. The world's going to go back to itself. Are the borders closed right now from Europe to Canada? Yes. Is there a new vet at the border and the Canadian border accepting the birds? Does he accept the paperwork? He doesn't accept it the same way. He's made up in his head the paperwork he doesn't like. That's the story on it. It's not the story, it's the truth. Have you seen imports at our site? No. Well, you've seen a few. We imported them last year. So if you're importing birds, you can call Frank McLaughlin, you can call Oscar DeVries, you can call Big Eddie, you can call me. We're going to give you all the same answer. It's not us, it's the paperwork. Nobody's lost a license. It's not a license. It's paperwork.
yeah,
That's
it
it.
is the Canadian government at the moment, because of everything that is going on, has put a temporary hold on the importation of pigeons from Europe into Canada. We have heard that it's going to be lifted at some point in February, but at the moment it is on hold. That's why we have made the decision to head over to Europe, and if the pigeons can't come to us, we are going to go to the pigeons. We have a great lineup. Ryan's going to be working his butt off for the next 3 months, but we have a great lineup. We've got, I think, 5 countries that Ryan's going to be visiting. We have a whole whack of lofts that we're going to have a look at. We're going to have birds available for auction. But at the moment, we are not able to import them from Europe. We think it's going to be lifted at some point in February. But so the second half of our auction season wasn't a complete wash. We made the executive decision to get on a plane and head over to Europe and bring you the best of Europe, the best from the UK, and the best of Ireland. So it's going to be very exciting. Okay, next
It's
question.
gonna be good.
And
Fun.
Antonio, if I have you breed me a bird, will I get to keep it at the end of the races? And then Dunningville Loft has a question. All right, let's get to Antonio's question there first.
Antonio, if you want us to breed your bird, I cannot do that for you. We don't have birds in our own race. We're not going down that hole. But if you are serious and you reserve your perches, I will put you in touch with either an American that can breed for you or a Canadian that can breed for you. I can put you in touch with a few people. You can work your deal out and go from there. Okay? That's the best way. I can't speak for other breeders if you can keep the bird or not. That's the deal that you're going to work out with them. I think it's a good way to do it. So that's that answer. But no, I will not be breeding for anyone. No, no, no. Richard either. No.
Another point on that, we will be doing a pioneer auction like we did last year, with a little bit of a twist. That details on that will be coming up within the next couple of months. But we will be doing a pioneer auction where a selective group of breeders that we have selected based on their past performance in the last couple of years in our own one loft race, also auction breeders that we do work with, will be offering up youngsters available for auction, which can participate for you in the Pioneer One Loft race. Those pigeons that you purchase will be yours at the end of the series. And we have a great lineup. I'm not going to get into who yet, but we've got about, 20, I don't know, 15, 20 breeders that will be supplying birds
Right.
for
We've
people to bid on.
we've selected the breeders. We've selected them. There will be 2 birds from each of those breeders. And these are breeders that have done well not only in our race, but in other races, or I see them always at the top. And I know the quality of the birds will be there. And if I got stuck, I could ask any one of them and be in confidence. So that's what we're going to bring to the table. So yes, if you want to own a bird, I'm going to tell you the auction is the way to go. Or, hey, we can hook you up with some of our breeders that we know, and you can put a whole team in. Many options. Remember the word no, can't, that doesn't exist here at the Pioneers. Yes, 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 go, 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 and we can make it happen.
Absolutely. Many different ways to participate. Even if you don't have pigeons in your own loft, we can make it happen for you, whether you're bidding on one of our Pioneer auction birds or Ryan hooks up a breeder to work with you. I know Dave Ottaway has offered, and there's a few others. Contact Ryan. He will put you in touch, and we're going to get you hooked up because we want you to participate. Even if you don't have pigeons, even if you don't have your own thing or can't get in touch with breeders, we want as many people to participate as possible because the more the merrier, and we certainly do have a fun time all summer long. Next question. Dunningville Loft. I got another one for you. I put a chunk of insulation on only one perch in my hen section this year to try it out. I put the birds together last week, and guess which hen was a bit heavy? Insulation.
Okay.
You know how Macaroni does that little, and you do it as well? Is that what he's talking about? Where you put the little insulation?
Yeah, but I don't understand the part was which one was heavy.
Yeah, why was it heavy? Dunningville. Okay, I'll read it again. I got another one for you. I put a chunk of insulation on only one perch in my hen section this year to try it out. He put the birds together last week, and which hen, can you guess which hen was a bit heavy? I'm assuming it's the hen where he put the insulation on the perch.
Right.
I think his meaning for heavy and our meaning for heavy are two different meanings. So where is this fellow from? From New Zealand or from Australia, or like a different interpretation of what heavy means?
Yeah. Okay. Get back with us on that question.
The easiest mating, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe he said the hen loved it, was on it. Okay, I could think of that. You know what? Let's not assume he'll fire.
Oh, we don't want to assume.
He'll fire it in.
We don't
Dunningville Loft. Dunningville Loft, if you can clarify, first of all, where are you watching from, and what do you mean by heavy? Let us know. Insulation in the perches. Why is that a bonus?
On the perches. He's box perches, I guess.
Well, a piece of insulation is heat, is warmth. Wood is insulation, but if you put a piece of that insulation down on our concrete floor here, you can go on socks and stand on the insulation and your feet don't get cold. Put your feet on the concrete, you get dampness that comes through. Cold. Remember, warm feet, your body's warm. Your hands are warm. Your feet and your hands, they lose the heat. Same with your head. So a pigeon, the insulation for them to stand on is excellent. I really think it is.
Dunningville Loft. I believe she was heavier because she didn't burn the calories. Okay, so he's in Michigan, so he's in the same boat as us. Same kind of weather conditions. There we go. Go ahead.
I think what he's saying is the hen that was, let's see if I'm right, the hen that was standing on the insulation.
It's warmer. She didn't burn off.
Burn as much calories. Huh.
But I bet you she was a lot happier.
So what did she do?
She didn't burn the calories. The other hens, he could feel losing a bit of weight because of the cold.
So he weighed her.
Yeah, he could feel her. Probably just handled it and felt it. Now that could be just maybe the hen's a little bit of a.
That could be wrong too, because the hen's going to be, I'd say, heavier, fat hen, not healthy either. So he's got to control his feeding.
Right, but the other thing too is it's good though for when you're racing because the bird's keeping the heat. So there's two ways of looking at it. That's an interesting thing that you notice. You see, now that's a guy there that's taking the time to notice something very small. I like that. Very clever. Congratulations, Lee. Give him a round of applause. That was worth the round of applause that one was. Go on, Leah, find it. Look.
I'm looking. Here we go. Round of applause, Dunningville Loft, for me doing a little experiment and paying attention, using a little common sense. Well done. I know if you check out the Macaroni, we have a clip of Macaroni Loft on our YouTube channel, and he shows where he puts a little throne for them of insulation in their little box perches. And I know, Ryan, you do it as well, right?
Yeah, when I go to Macaloni's, I will take one from there and bring it back and put it in our showroom, and we'll use it on one of our shows. We'll show it. Exactly what he does.
Yeah, Macaroni Loft is one of the lofts that we will be visiting while Ryan is over in Europe and the UK. We will be at Macaroni's Loft. We will be doing a loft tour at Macaroni's talking to Macaroni and his dad, and have some fantastic birds up for auction. So stay tuned for that. Questions, comments, complaints, let me know. Sean Strafford says, good night. Do young birds follow what old birds do still, if even you don't let them outside together? Yes or no?
Do old birds do the same as young birds?
Do young birds follow what old birds do? Well, I separate
Even if
my
you
young
don't
birds.
let them outside together.
I have my young birds from the previous year, or they're separated. I don't leave them with the old birds.
No, but he's saying if you leave them together, do they learn? I mean, I think pigeons all learn from each other. Sure, I mean people learn from each other. You even look at you have kittens. Kittens learn from the mother. They learn from the other cats around. We see it. I think it's just.
You know, I hate to say it, but a friend of mine, he had his pigeons open hold.
Right.
Back in the late 70s and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And that hole, open hole, that means the chute where they go out. He told me it was a chute, they call it, where they go out.
Right.
And I said, explain it to me. And he said, I let those birds out at 5:30 in the morning.
Right.
All my birds. And he never separated his young ones.
No, that's right. And he had a big section they were all in.
It was fairly large.
Yeah.
And he said, I couldn't believe it. The youngsters were like 35 days old. And they were out fielding with their parents, with the old birds, with the other birds. They were gone in the field.
So they were following the parents out to the field.
Yeah, and they were 35 days old. They're totally squeaking.
Right.
Their wings were 3/4 of the way out, right? Feathered. And yeah, they followed the old birds. It's,
Right.
At that point.
And it probably wasn't 30. It was probably about 50 days old. Really
No,
young.
it was 35. He told me.
Well, again, the babies were squeaking.
7 weeks old.
Right.
35 days old.
7 weeks old. Yeah.
No, 5 days old. 5 weeks old. 5 weeks old.
5 weeks, maybe a bit short. I would go with
There's
7.
7 days in a week.
7 days.
Times 5.
How many?
35.
How many days in a year?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. David
No, but this
Tracy,
is what he told me.
when you say insulation, do you mean like foam insulation? Do you have any there in the showroom of the little insulation that you use?
Yes, we do. I always carry a piece.
Oh,
Okay.
Ricky's gonna get it for you, Tracy. This is a special request for Tracy.
Not Tracy, David Tracy. We got lots of Tracy's this year, so we have to make sure we're talking about the right one. David
You know,
Tracy.
you guys have team Tracy's. Tracy's.
Sean says that my old birds have bad habits. So I guess what he's worried about is, should he completely, if the old birds have bad habits, should he like steer clear of mixing them in with the young birds, or not let them out at the same time because of the bad habits?
Yes. Yeah. If you start having them, they go land on the wires. The young will learn from the old. It happens. That is true. That is true. So yeah, if you got some bad habit birds that are really bad habits, you got a bird that keeps sitting on the wire. We don't like that. Get rid of it. Because 1 will train 2, 2 will train 3, and the next thing you know, you go to let your birds out for a fly, and they all go sit on the wire. If that bothers you, again, that's up to you, right? I mean, hey, we have it here at our place. You will see the pigeons sit in the trees with us. We don't get upset because when it's time to go to work, we tell them, and they go to work. But you got to know,
Maple tree is the very best for
maple
birds.
tree is good for oxygen.
You know, I had a fellow I knew some years ago, and I don't want to mention his name, but he said to me, I let my young birds out in the morning, and they're gone. They fly for 3 hours.
3 hours.
I said, oh boy, everybody seems to brag like that, eh? I took a drive down the road a few times. I happened to pass by his place.
Right.
On the way home.
Right.
I see all those pigeons land up on a hydro wire about 2 miles down the road. They're his birds. I knew they were his birds.
Yeah.
In a field area.
Yeah.
Right? He thought they were flying for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right? They learned a bad habit.
There you go. And that's just what we're saying. You know.
Now, before we show that piece of insulation, Sean says, and I don't want my younger ones doing the same. If you don't want your young ones to get the bad habits of the old ones, keep them separated. Okay, what do we got there? Let's show David Tracy. what we're talking about when we mean insulation.
What's that? What's that song? You got to keep them separated.
Give me
Yeah.
There you go. There it is, right there.
That's the thickness of that foam.
That's 2.5 inches, 3 inches.
And look, we'll just show you. We'll put it up to a coffee cup.
Yeah.
So there you go, nice and thick.
Now, you're not putting that entire chunk, right? You're just cutting off like a little square.
Well, you can cut it. You can cut a brick size. You can cut a nice brick size of it, you know, so the bird feels good on it.
I don't want to get into anything in detail, but when I separate my young ones at 16 to 18 days old, I bring them in in a crate, and I put this on top of the crate when I want to feed them their cat food.
Right.
And this gives them a place where they don't fall, they don't slide.
Oh yeah.
And this is what I use this for. And
yep, that's a good idea.
In your nest
right.
boxes
if
too.
You're gonna put a piece in your box, cut it like a throne, cut it big enough, you know, a nice little chunk, nice square chunk, something like that. Easy to scrape off.
And what I would do is I would get some duct tape and put it right around here.
Yep.
Because
why is that?
So many times when the birds fly on this, and this slowly
wears down,
it breaks away. That's what I would do.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I know. I think what McAloney did was he made a square box, and he dropped the insulation in. I believe that's what he does. So when the bird lands on it, his feet, if this is in a wooden box, the bird's feet hit the wood, but the bird stands.
A bird would rather stand on this than a clean piece of plywood.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And never use a brick. Never
use a brick.
Never use a brick.
Or
Why?
a stone.
Why?
Because it's cold. I don't like to stand on concrete, and I don't like to stand on wire.
Yeah.
Some guys have them standing on wire. Do you like to stand on wire?
Well,
I don't.
Pigeons that stand on wire, it's for the guy wanting them to be clean, right? They want it to be clean, but if you want to build, I think, super condition, I think you need them on the wood. You see the droppings the best way, and the birds love it. When the bird's on a wooden box perch, he can lay on it.
I know another guy who told me he never scrapes out his box perches. And he has a mound of dried litter on the box perch, which is wood, and the bird stands on that little piece of dry litter.
Yeah.
Dry, bone like concrete.
Right.
But that keeps heat.
It's insulation, yes.
Yeah, it's an insulation.
Good point.
You know, the same fella, he keeps dry litter on his floor. 1.5 foot of dry litter. 1.5 foot of dry litter. He's off that ground. How far?
That's right.
You know,
that's a good insulation barrier for the ground.
That's
it's the same thing. We talk about it here in Southern Ontario. Don't put your birds on a wire floor to race. We have too much dampness. Coming up. You're going to have no condition on your birds.
We have a question from Mike Matos on Facebook, but before we get to that, we have Johnny over on YouTube, who has a great question and something very interesting here. He says, I have homing pigeons in Manhattan, 21 stories high. They are good bloodlines. Do you sell pigeon supplies? Thanks for your information. Before we get to the pigeon supply part, I would love to see, because we don't know anybody here in Toronto. There was that one fellow that had pigeons up on his high-rise balcony. But I know that in New York City, and this gentleman here is from Manhattan, there's quite a bit of that goes on, where guys do race off of the high-rises. And Johnny, I would love to see a little video of how you keep them, and I'd love to share that with our Canadian and North American audience, because that would be amazing to see, I think. Pigeon supplies. We do sell pigeon supplies. However, getting them to the United States sometimes is a little bit tricky. We can put you in the right direction. It depends on what you're looking for. We might be able to bring some stuff over for you when Ryan goes over next week. There's a lot of places in the U.S. that do sell pigeon supplies as well. Sometimes it's just a little tricky for us to get the stuff over the border, but that would be really neat to see that, I think. Mike Matos, and perches are plastic. Is plastic okay for pigeons? Plastic. Let's talk a little bit about perches. Is plastic okay?
Yeah.
I would say no. Plastic. A lot of plastic perches have that little wood piece on top.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting on a piece of wood. But I mean, a straight plastic perch. A a V perch that's like this, pigeon really doesn't like to sit on that.
No, because of the point.
Because, yeah, if he wants to sit down, his keel's into that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think what he's talking about is the plastic perches with the little wooden block. They're okay. They're good.
They're good.
Overall, though, you always want your bird to be able to lay on its perch. Remember that. So if it's a V perch that goes like this, you don't want it a point. You want it to sort of be like a V, like, I don't know, we got them there, but you want it flat and then down, V perch. So the pigeon can lay on them if he wants to be comfortable. I prefer box perches, pole perches. I don't mind a pole perch. But definitely nothing sharp and pointy here. We'll show this right here. And even that, I like it a little bit bigger, but you can see the block of wood.
Now that definitely looks a lot more comfortable than just like a pointy V. That is an example of a plastic perch.
Yeah, could you imagine sitting on the point? It wouldn't be it's uncomfortable. And again, box perches are the best, in my opinion.
Getting back to the, just kind of brings a tear to my eyes. A very close friend of mine, which in my boxing days, we used to train together and box together. Mike Tyson, him and I, and he had his pigeons on the top of an apartment building. Incredible.
Jesus, man, you've been around everywhere. There's things you've done that I didn't even know, Leah. And you know what? You held out, Leon, all these great stories. One day we're going to get Ricky to write a book. Ricky Gone Wild.
Mike Tyson, a good
Ricky
friend
Gone Wild.
And he had his loft on the top of an apartment building, and he was competitive. To this day, still flies racing pigeons.
Listen, I'll get him here.
Did you not
Next
see him
question.
down in,
Sean Strafford asks, how can I buy a bird from FIPA? He's in Trinidad. We can ship birds to Trinidad, but we need large groups to do it to make it cost effective. We can't just send one bird just because they have to go through quarantine here and it's a bit of a process and the airfare, etc. I think, Ryan, you've done 2 shipments to Trinidad. Am I right?
Yep. You get 50 birds together and we'll send you a group. That's what you do. Get your guys together or put a consignment together and we ship them out to you. Quarantine is, I think it's 30 days and we can ship them right directly to you in Trinidad, the lovely island, and there you go.
But you will have to get a group of at least 50 to make it worth your while, worth our while, worth everybody's while. Rob Wong, question. Oh, Jay-Z also, for our friend Johnny in Manhattan, says Global Pigeon Supply is in New York if you're looking for a pigeon supplier. Thank you very much for that, Jay-Z. Johnny just said he's looking for MP74 grid made from Dr. Pigeons. Have you ever heard of that?
Go to Global. Canada here, we're not allowed to have anything good.
Global Canada. Pigeon Supply, Johnny, should have what you're looking for. A question from Rob Wong. From your loft visits around the world, are the top lofts typically scraped daily or multiple times a day? What have you noticed in your tours and travels, guys?
I'm going to go with some are scraped, but most of the time in the race seasons, you'll see the floors they leave their floors alone because the floor holds the condition in the loft. And the boxes or the perches will be scraped. They don't mind scraping that, but I find they leave the floors, they leave the condition on the floor. So when they start their season, like what I do with the granules, to put the granules in fresh season, they leave that floor in for the whole season. And when the season's done, they'll take it out and clean it. Now, again, certain lots, if you go to Koopman, because, selling birds and people come over, he has a guy that where the stock birds are, they scrape out and they keep everything real nice and tidy. But, I've been to Emile Denny's and the floor wasn't scraped. It was a nice, clean, dry floor, very dry. The floors are not wet. There's not wet shit on the floor. The floors are all bone dry. It's like a very low level of dry litter.
It's called keeps immunity in the loft.
Yeah, form.
Form. Another person I watched, and before his breeding season, he goes in scrapes everything,
Uh-huh.
vacuums everything,
Right.
gets Lysol spray, sprays everything down
Right.
with all this stuff.
Right.
And then he says, now I'm ready for breeding. Well, why weren't you ready like 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Like, why'd you have to do the severe? So what
Well,
I'm
if you have
saying,
the same birds in the loft, why would you do that? Your loft's already got form. Your loft's in condition.
it's
You're
got the
fine.
immunity.
That's right. But that's just what we call somebody thinking, I'm going to go in there.
Thinking.
And you know, thinking. And I've never heard of these guys in Europe ever say, I bring a garden hose in and wash my loft out. I've never heard that. Never. I think it's like, no, they're not washing anything. They just leave they like the immunities in their loft. Now, again, I've been to a whack. I'm going to go to more. You're going to see me. I'll be at about 25 lofts, and we'll see how it is. And we'll ask what their differences are. Remember, everyone is different. Everyone has different beliefs. So there could be some lofts that scrape 3 times a day. There could be lofts that don't scrape. We're going to see it.
And you know what the great thing is about these loft tours? And speaking of a loft tour, we've got one coming up tomorrow where Ryan was at this week's featured breeder, John Black's loft. I've just almost completed the editing on the video, which will be uploaded tomorrow. And you can have a look at John Black's loft. What I want you guys to do is please follow along, have a look at the loft tours, and take from each loft tour little bits and pieces. We're not saying to replicate what John Black does or what Macaroni does or what Emile Denny's does, but I think by watching, observing, and listening, we can always pick little pieces from each breeder's loft that we can incorporate into our own lofts. I think it's a great way to learn and a great way to pick up tips and tricks along the way that you can incorporate. Whether you want to or not, that's up to you. But it's there for the offering, so please follow along. Tomorrow, John Black Loft Tour will be uploaded both on Facebook and YouTube, so stay tuned for that. Okay, next question. We got another question here. Troy says, those perches, so talking about those little plastic V perches there with the wood on the top, they can be modified to make the wood bigger. Troy, have you done that? And if you have, take a photo or show us how you made it bigger and let us know. Do you think they need to be bigger, Ryan?
Oh,
Or they
you can
can.
make it
You can unscrew it, right? And then put another little piece of wood on top?
Yeah, you can, again, like Troy says, you can put a block of wood just a little bit bigger, just a little more comfortable. It's whatever you want.
Okay. Also, Michael Peevler for Johnny over on YouTube says that Foy's, which is another pigeon product supplier in the United States, owns Dr. Pigeon. So you either might want to check it global or check Foy's. I believe they both have websites, but Michael Peevler says that Foy's owns Dr. Pigeons. Okay, next question. Johnny has a question and Rob Wong. I'm going to get to Rob Wong's first and then Johnny. Rob Wong, what are your thoughts on using an unclean nest bowl from the previous breeding season for the new breeding season? Thoughts?
Super. Excellent. The best. Ricky, go ahead.
Again, I knew a fella. He said his 6th round of youngsters is the best nest bowl.
So the old nest bowls. Use them year in, year out.
6 rounds, yeah.
You don't have to clean them out? No.
I just shook my head. I believe what he says. And he had the birds sparkling.
Can I ask you a question?
No.
Forget your friend, because the friend is the same guy as you. Now give me the straight answer. Yeah, he is. Remember. Answer the question. Do you clean your nest bowls or you use the same ones year in, year out? He does. He uses the same ones year in and year out. And Leah, again, ladies of the night. Back to you, Leah.
Johnny says, what's your opinion about the racing going on in Mexico that goes for big money?
Good. Well, at least somewhere in North America, they're doing it right?
Yeah, we actually are in talks about Ryan heading down to Mexico. We're going to send Ryan everywhere. Heading down to Mexico, probably in the early fall when R1 Loft racing is over. He's been in contact with a few top breeders down there because we're very interested in seeing what the scene is down in Mexico. very interested in showing the rest of North America and the world how Mexico is really thriving as far as pigeon racing goes. We spoke to Aztec last week. As you know, we had an auction, and Ramiro said, I mean, what, 30, 40,000, 60,000 the first race weekend there, something like that.
Yeah.
Birds.
They're getting it right somewhere in North America, and thank God it's in Mexico, because at least the weather's good, the food's good, and you know what? The pigeon racing's good there. So
You want to know
that's for me.
my feeling about it?
Yes. Is it your feeling or your friends?
If you're flying for money, you're concentrating more on making your birds better. If you're not flying for money, you don't really care. You just don't train properly. You don't feed properly. But if you want to get out there and try and make some money, you want to make sure I'm doing things on a program. I want to make sure I do proper feeding, do this, because that's my team, right? You don't see professional football teams play for no money. They're out there to win.
That's right.
And and makes you a better pigeon keeper.
And that's what we haven't learned in this country here. We're not there yet.
It's not cruel to the bird. It's better for the bird if you want to fly for money, because you want to make that horse and run the best way he can.
And you know what? I pray every day that this country will figure it out. We're miles away, but we're going to keep trying. That's all. They can say no, but we'll keep trying, because you know what? If Mexico can do it, we can do it.
Well, Europeans do it. We all do it.
Well, I'm just going to go with Mexico, because if they can do it, we can do it.
So stay tuned, because Ryan will be headed to Mexico at some point, and we will be showing you, because I'm very interested as well to see how it all goes down there. Question from Rita. Question for Richard. As a new flyer, do you believe it is better to enter young birds into one loft races as January babies or later babies, as in end of February born babies, or even later, or does it matter at all? Richard?
I always think when you raise young ones in January, they're not able to go out because of the hawks, and they fatten up. They become like sort of lazy couch potatoes. I like to see young ones come out of the baby crib, start walking around, get on the tricycle, then get on the two-wheel bicycle, and learn they step by step they learn a bit faster than I think those birds first in January. But mind you, if you raise 50 young ones in January, maybe out of 50 you're going to have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 maybe that are going to that are. There's only so many in a group that are ace anyways.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
So
I'm gonna say, if you look at how Mother Nature is with pigeons in the wild, it's a constant from hatching. They go like this. They keep going. There's not a flat period. So when you breed them in January, Rita and Tony, maybe you're breeding now. All those babies that you have right now, you've weaned them off. What are we now? February. They're already now six weeks old. They look really good. They look strong. They look smart. They look beautiful. In a month from now, they're going to even look like old birds. They're going to start cooing. They're going to look even better. And you're going to say, wow, these are awesome. I had no sickness. Wow, these are great. You're going to let them out. And you know what? They could just be as dumb as good as they look. Now, when we've done well in any one loft races, when Ricky and myself, we're a little different. We send them at the last day, and we send the youngest birds. That's what we've done time and time again, and it seems to work for us. But we understand when you send a younger pigeon, they have to handle that stress. So we try and prime them for the stress so they can take the stress. I don't want to send a pigeon that's 65 days old. I really don't, or 75 days old. I don't want to do that. Now, Aztec, he likes them 50, 60 days. I like them 40 days. Hey, let's go back to Wally Bielek. He won the Empire, I don't know, 15 years ago now. We took the baby, it was this big in the hand, and you guys can ask Jim McGinnis. Jim McGinnis looked at him the last day of accepting birds. Jim said to him, I was right there, what the hell are you going to do with this thing? This is never going to make it. And Wally said, will you please just give it a drink, help it along. The bird knocked off 50K. It was the youngest bird entered in the race. Miss San Diego was the youngest bird in California for us. She won the race. The next year we went back with birds the same time, the youngest birds. The guy said, why don't you send me older ones? We just wanted to go with young ones. And again, he likes it for the same thing I do. Evolution. They move quicker. Take a look at kids in a Montessori school compared to a public and private, like a public school. The Montessori kids are 5 times smarter right off the hop. I've seen 4-year-olds reading at a grade 6 level. I don't know, because they teach them early. Ride, baby, ride. Back to you, Leah.
Hopefully that helps. Rita, Neil has a question. Talking about money, how is the Pioneer Old Bird series shaping up? Ryan?
Pigeon men come late to the dance. That's what pigeon men do. They do everything late. Frank Eichhorn's in. I know that. You know what?
Henry?
I'm not even.
Henry?
Yeah.
Henry's
in. And then whatever. The other people who want to participate can come. Again, they all come late to the dance anyways. Am I really overly worried? Absolutely not. The one thing I can guarantee you, Neil, and I can guarantee everyone watching, is we will do the job. We will be at the locations, the Matheson, the Hearst, and the Long Lac. We will be at all 3 of those locations. Guaranteed. There'll be no stops. There'll be no it's too hot. It'll be no it's too windy. We go. And remember, you can either fly for money, or if you're just in it for this fun thing and you want to make your birds do all that work, you can play for fun as well with no money involved.
$200 gets you in if you don't want to be in the money pot, or $600 if you want to be in the money pot for the 3-race Old Bird Open Series. $600 for a up to 20 bird team. Doesn't have to be the same 20 birds every week. Doesn't have to be 20 birds. It can be 5 birds. It can be 10 birds. You can switch them out. Our Old Bird series. Yeah. Do I have a flyer for it if anybody wants to see it? Anyway, all the information's on our website. Where is the flyer? Do I have it here? I do have it.
And for guys wondering, yes, if you feel the need that you want to send young birds, I don't care either.
Yeah, we just want to fly. We just want to race. So honestly, with rules and putting rules and regulations and all this stuff, it's stopping people from flying. That's the last thing we want to do. So you know what? Come and have some fun. Whether you want to fly for money or you don't, just come and fly. It's going to be a great time. And as usual, we will show you everything. The releases, the holdovers, you will see it all. We're going to wrap up here in about 5 minutes. So guys, now's the time. If you have questions, please put them below. What else do you want to talk about, Ryan?
Band sales, guys. If you guys want to fly a Pioneer this year, just go with the $3 bands. It's simple. You know, you're going to get 8 weeks of racing. Cost efficiency is there. No limits on shipping. You got all the different categories: $3, $5, $10, $20, $50, $100. Sometimes, Leah, I want to put a gun in my mouth and blow my head off because we overshot this one. The kids, I don't think, can figure this out, and I wish we would have dumbed it down. I mean, not dumbed it down, but simplified it. Wrong choice of words, but we're still going to run our band race series. It's still going to be good, and for the guys who participate, good. We're going to keep growing it.
We're going to keep growing it, and we're going to have fun. Whether you want to go $3, $5, just come and race. It's going to be a fun time. You're going to be competing against the One Loft birds. They're going to be released with our Pioneer Club birds. As you guys know, we show you everything. The releases, the holdovers, you name it, we show it. Neil says it will be a great 3-race series. It absolutely will be a great 3-race series. Want to say congratulations to Neil, who has purchased a Benzing M3. By the way, Neil, it is on its way. Should have it within the next couple weeks. So congratulations to Neil. Looking forward to seeing you with your Benzing finish line sign. We're going to have to take a photo of you and Petey with it. And hopefully you've found a nice place that you're going to put it on your loft. But congratulations, Neil, for making that change. Welcome to the 21st century with your Benzing. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Yeah, you will. It's 20. You know, we're starting from the farthest ends of southern Ontario, but we're we're getting there, slow and steady, slow and steady.
Yeah, we've got Neil. We've got all the three Thunder Bay boys. They've purchased Benzings, which is fantastic. Can't wait to get them on the program as well. You guys are really going to enjoy it. We will have to do a Benzing show within the next, I don't know, month or so, where we talk again about the Benzing clocking system, the best clocking system, in our opinion, in the world. And we can go over the price points and what each clock does. If that's something you guys would be interested in, we can certainly do that again. We haven't had a Benzing show since last year, since we introduced the Benzing clock. So perhaps it's time. Maybe guys are looking to change their clocking system before the race season starts, so we should do that.
And when I'm in Belgium, I will be at the Fugari show. I will be at the Benzing booth. You can find me there. I will do a live show from Benzing's booth. And remember, it's not we said this clock is the greatest. It's actually the world that says it's the greatest clock, and now Canada just has to follow. So we didn't say it was the greatest. We already know it's the greatest. Everyone in the world knows it's the greatest. Come on, Canada, get on board. Time to evolve.
Neil says, thanks. Hope some more clubs get on board. Well, we hope so too, Neil. All we can do is put it out there. Can lead the horse to water. Sometimes you can't always make him drink, but we are certainly going to try our best. And that's right, Ryan will be at the Fugari show in Belgium next month on, I believe it's February 20th. He will also be at the Houten Expo in the Netherlands. He'll also be at the Lear Market, and we will be bringing everything to you live or pre-recorded video, which will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So please like, share, subscribe our page, especially over on YouTube. All the likes count. We really do appreciate it. Same on Facebook. And if there's no more questions, I think we will wrap this show up. A great show this evening. Thank you guys for your participation, your comments, your questions. We appreciate it. That's what makes this show great. We are here every Monday night at 8 o'clock on Facebook and on YouTube, where we talk anything and everything to do with pigeons. Anything else you want to say, Ryan, or shall we wrap it up?
No, well, I think we can wrap this up. Again, reserve your purchase. You know, that's what we recommend for the one loft, because when she's full, she's full. It'll be a fun season. Ricky and myself will go head to head. The Pioneer Combine birds will be flying against us. So our goal is to beat all the Combine flyers every week. That's our goal. So we're going to get the max out of these birds. And we just want you to follow along. As I always say, like and subscribe and share our page. Hopefully you guys enjoyed some of these tips tonight. Remember, when shipping...
Sorry, Ryan. You talk about shipping, and then I just want to say what's up on our Feathers Elite. What's going on with Feathers Elite this week? Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, shipping, you know what to do. You've seen the tips and tricks, so don't say you can't. Don't say you couldn't do it. Don't give me an excuse. Don't be lazy. Help your birds out. Leah, what's happening this week at Feathers Elite?
Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions, we have the John Black, the best of 7 Yellow Rosiers online auction at FIPA.ca. We have, I think, 15 fantastic lots from John Black. As I mentioned, tomorrow we will have his loft tour uploaded on YouTube and Facebook for you guys to watch. Wednesday evening, I believe at 7 o'clock, we will be live. Try and stay awake, Ryan. We will be live with John Black. We'll be at the FIPA showroom to go through all of his lots, and you guys can ask any questions you have to John. He'll be with us in the studio going over all his lots. A super group of pigeons there with the John Black auction. So we look forward to that. That auction, of course, closes Friday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Ryan is going to eat his little Gatorade popsicle. Daniel Herman says, great show. Thank you very much, Daniel, for watching. Bruce Dixon, again, guys, if you are in the Brantford or Delhi area, Bruce is looking for a pigeon friend out in that area because he wants to start again. And we are here to promote the sport. So, guys, if you're in that area, please, why don't you friend request over on Facebook, Bruce Dixon. You see him there in the comments. And make a pigeon friend. And let's get somebody back in the sport who had pigeons 20 years ago. This is how the sport grows. So nice to see you on, Bruce. Hopefully we see you next Monday. Go ahead, Ryan.
And remember, guys, if you go help out Bruce, ask him to show you the hockey pucks. You're going to ask me why about the hockey pucks. He used to play with the great one, Wayne, right on Wayne's backyard rink. He brought Wayne over to the loft, show him the birds. Wayne would take him on the pond. They'd shoot the pucks together. So help out there. Go and you're going to enjoy it. Just ask to see those pucks. Leah, let's wrap this thing up. I'm getting cold. I'm hypothermiating.
We'll wrap this up. We want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Leah. That's Ryan. And that's Loft Manager Richard. We are from the Pioneer Racing Pigeon Club of Ontario. We want to thank you so much for flying with us. Have a great week, guys.
Bye for now.
What about the hockey?